course, a lot of ongoing turmoil in the Republican Party. It's dominated the news. There is another huge story that just keeps getting worse and worse. And that, of course, is the story of Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida. Today, the congressman's former associate, Joel Greenberg, who is facing 33 federal charges, is now pleading guilty. In documents filed, he agreed to plead to 6 of the 33 charges, and they include fraud, identity theft, and sex trafficking of a minor. Details in the plea match reporting we've already seen, including from the Daily Beast last month, said that Greenberg had paid a then 17-year-old $300 over the pay app Venmo and labeled the memo as food. Also, some upsetting new details in the plea, including, quote, that other men who Greenberg introduced the minor to engaged in commercial sex acts with the minor in Greenberg's presence when the minor was under the age of 18 years old. In addition to pleading guilty to 6 charges, including the sex trafficking of minor, Greenberg has agreed to, and I quote the agreement here, cooperate fully with the United States in the investigation and prosecution of other persons. Remember, the investigation into Joe Greenberg is what led authorities to Congressman Matt Gaetz, who is reportedly under investigation by the Department of Justice for the sex trafficking of that same minor. Congressman Gaetz was not implicated by name in the plea deal. He has not been charged with anything, and Congressman Gaetz continues to deny any wrongdoing. But with this new plea of a potential key witness, Congressman Gaetz should probably consider keeping his lawyers very, very close by. Joining me now, political investigations reporter for the Daily Beast, Jose Palieri, who has a new piece out tonight on the Matt Gaetz investigation. Jose, let's start first with what's in the plea, and then I want to move to your reporting. The plea details are not great. I mean, this is a minor who was being paid for sex. There's this part of it, too. Greenberg would often supply the minor and others with ecstasy, which Greenberg would take himself as well. Oftentimes, Greenberg would offer to pay the minor and others an additional amount of money to take ecstasy. It seems like there's a bunch of other people implicated just in the way this is discussed in the plea. What is your take on it?
Absolutely. And look, let me tell you, reading this plea agreement today, I was happy to see that it squared with all of our reporting so far. And the reporting we've done does indicate that there are lots of other people. Apparently, at these parties, there were lots of power brokers in Central Florida, other politicians present. Sources, of course, have repeatedly indicated that Matt Gaetz was present there and said that Joel Greenberg was his go-to person for arranging pay-for-sex encounters. And so this plea agreement really is the beginning of a difficult road for Matt Gaetz, because up until now, it really was up in the air whether or not Greenberg was going to absolutely turn on his former friends and colleagues and rat them out. And this says that he's absolutely going to do it. And some of the reporting that we had today indicates just how far he's going to go.
So you're reporting today. Can you take me through the story that you just published and what you found?
Definitely. Thanks, Chris. So here's the thing. We've all heard about the parties that Matt Gaetz attended with Joel Greenberg and others, but this is the first time that we are actually identifying Matt Gaetz at a specific place, specific time, with a specific woman and drugs. And this all relates to a GOP fundraiser in Orlando in October 2019, where multiple sources are telling us that Matt Gaetz, after delivering a speech where he was very proud to be the Trumpiest congressman in Congress, retired to his hotel room with his friends and then had a paid escort who had an ongoing transactional relationship with him prepare lines of cocaine in the bathroom counter, where multiple people there did it, including the congressman and this escort. And the witnesses that we've spoken to, again, identified her repeatedly as someone who this congressman had a transactional relationship with. This wasn't the only night that he was with her. Now, there's a second thing that we also identified in the story, which is that Greenberg will positively identify this woman as one of more than 15 young women that the congressman paid for sex, including those that he paid Joel Greenberg to pay them for sex. And there's another reason why we zeroed in on this particular person, which is that this escort landed a no-show job in Joel Greenberg's government office. We've talked to financial auditors who've taken a look at this, employees at that local tax office who tell us that this person didn't do work. She landed a contract for anywhere from $7,000 to $17,000, and she didn't actually do the work that she was paid to do. And so we've got taxpayer funds involved here too. And let me just just put the icing on the cake here. We also, in the course of reporting this, discovered that that hotel stay was a campaign expense for Matt Gaetz. And so donors to him picked up the tab.
So again, this is, I want to stress here that we at NBC have not confirmed this reporting. This is the Daily Beast reporting that we don't have this, right? But your reporting, what you were reporting is that there was a fundraiser for Donald Trump in 2018 in Mar-a-Lago, in Orlando. Gaetz spoke at it. I think Johnny Damon was there. And then afterwards, there was like just a kind of coke and sex worker party in the hotel that Matt Gaetz was there. You have two witnesses saying doing lines at, and that this the sex worker in question, or the woman who was paid transactionally for sex, was someone who was also given a no-show job at a county tax collection office by Mr. Greenberg.
That's right. And so, like, look, in our reporting, we have talked to dozens of women who were involved in this pay for sex scheme involving these men. And they've given us a lot of tips, a lot of background that has helped us zero in on specific people and identify specific instances. And so this is one that we decided to go ahead and report because it's so glaring. I mean, we've heard the specific details, and we actually tracked down a third witness who were able to not just place the congressman at the event, but also moving into an elevator with this woman and Joel Greenberg retiring back to their hotel room. And so we zeroed in on this because of the players, but also what they were doing.
Yeah, it's all a little overwritten, I got to say. And, it also seems to me that should this all be true, it just feels like there's not going to be a real shortage of witnesses here. This doesn't seem like it has real open secret vibes to me right now.
This was an after party. We've identified at least half a dozen people who were there and saw this take place. And the reason that we decided to break this news and start with this one is that there are lots of other parties like this. There are more young women, more locations, and more actions and bad behavior on the part of Gaetz and Greenberg that we're going to be exposing. This is just this is the start of a long road.